guys, and welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be doing a kind of a different makeup tutorial thing because in this video today I'm going to be sharing with you how I get a flawless look. And I'm going to go totally into depth about my skin, how I prep my skin, how I do foundation, concealer, how I do eyes just to make them stand out but not be too much. No, it's just going to be my kind of like everyday flawless makeup look. So first of all, just sorry if this video is going to be a really long one because I just really feel like that I want to go totally into depth about all of my beauty tips and tricks on all of those things that I know. So without further ado, let's get into it. Before even doing anything that has to do with makeup on my skin, I obviously make sure to do a really nice prep work with some good skincare products. And I think this is so important. Good skin equals good makeup. So what I do is that I use my Estee Lauder Advanced Night Repair Serum. I use this both in the morning and the night. This one is just deep hydration to your skin and it just feels so lovely. It dries in literally no time, so it's just a no-brainer for me. I use it every morning and every night. Then for an eye cream, because I think it's important to take good care of the eye area, I use my Estee Lauder Revitalizing Supreme Global Anti-Aging Eye Balm. I want to make sure that I take good care of my eyes. I think it's kind of like reawakening to your skin as well, so I really like that. And lastly, I go in with a daily moisturizer, and this is from Origins. This is the Dr. Andrew Reveal for Origins Mega Mushroom Skin Relief Soothing Face Cream. And the reason why I use this one is because that it is made for sensitive skin. I just feel like that it really does some good things for my skin. It moisturizes obviously, but it also kind of like calms and soothes my skin. Once I've done my kind of like daily skincare routine, then I just let it sit for like 5 minutes just to soak into my skin totally. And then I go in with a primer. There's so many different primers out there, some that are like illuminating, some that are more pore minimizing. The one that I really love and swear by is my the Professional primer from Benefit. This one just cancels out any like pores, and also it's got a bit of a tint to it, so it also neutralizes the skin and it just feels so nice and silky and lovely on the skin. It kind of gives a velvety finish to your skin. And I just feel like it gives the perfect canvas. So I just apply a tiny bit, kind of like in my T-zone. So on my nose, definitely, just where you've got like pores or something that you want to conceal a bit. So also here, around my nose. And on my forehead as well. Also, this primer is oil-free, so I think it goes great for all skin types, whether you've got oily skin or dry skin. So now my skin is perfectly prepped. It looks much more even. It feels really lovely and silky. What I'm going to do now is going to continue with foundation. I personally like my light to medium coverages, and I always feel like that it's much better to actually use like a light covering foundation, and then if you've got some spots or something that you want to conceal, then you use some concealer on those. In that way you get a much more even and natural looking skin. The foundation that I'm going to use today is my Benefit Hello Flawless Oxygen Wow Brightening Makeup Foundation. I use this one because once again it's oil free and it gives a light to medium coverage, and because it's oil free it means that everyone can use it. Also it has got SPF 25, so it's a perfect like everyday foundation because it will kind of like protect your skin from the sun. To apply it I'm going to use a BeautyBlender, a damp one obviously. And the thing you do with this one is that you just soak it up so you get it really big and squishy, and then you just squish out any like water or whatever, so it's just damp and just a bit wet but not too wet, if you get what I mean. And this one will just make sure that you get a really flawless base. I mean, you can use brushes and so on, but honestly I just find that this one it just does the trick really. If you want flawless skin, this is the way to go. So just pump something out on the back of my hand here. Use my BeautyBlender, and then I start kind of like from the center of my face, and then I just gently work out the foundation into my skin. And I just do some dotting motions on my skin in order to really press in the foundation. Also make sure to really buff in the foundation at your hairline, just to make sure that it doesn't look unnatural but that it really blends into your skin. So here's my skin after just one coat of the foundation, and I think it looks perfect. it kind of like evens out the skin tone. It looks very natural. So next step is obviously to use the concealer, and I think when you look for a concealer, to me it's very important that it's one that really covers, because obviously a concealer is used to cover up spots or redness or stuff like that. So if you go for like a light covering concealer, then that doesn't really make sense in my mind. So the concealer that I've chosen to use is my MAC Pro Longwear Concealer. A, because it really covers every freaking thing, and B, because it is really long wearing as well. So what I do is just that I pump a tiny bit out on the back of my hand as well. And let me just say, the pump on these Pro Longwear concealers, it is annoying like hell because you always get way too much product out on your skin, but we'll just blend it in. And I'm going to use a pointed tip on my BeautyBlender to blend in the concealer on those troubled areas that I've got. And then I actually just let it sit and just get a bit sticky, because then it kind of like dries in and then it won't get that smushed around when I use my BeautyBlender to really blend it in. And now I'm just going to gently dot in the concealer and make sure not to drag, because if you do that, you actually just ruin everything that you've just created. You're going to ruin the coverage level, and you're also going to ruin the foundation underneath. Moving on to my under eye area, I like to brighten up just a tiny bit, not too much. And for that, I'm going to use the same MAC concealer. This is just one shade lighter. This is NC15, whereas the other one was NC20. I'm just gonna take my ring finger and dot it under my eyes. And I'm just making sure not to use too much because I don't want it to look unnatural. And I actually use it down on the bridge of my nose just to highlight a tiny bit on my cupid bow and up here. And I'm using my BeautyBlender once again to blend it into my skin. And I make sure to get all the way into the corners of my eyes. Now I'm just quickly going to set my T-zone, because that is where I find I get a bit oily during the day. And I'm going to use my Mercier transparent loose setting powder. I just use my Real Techniques Duo Fiber Contour Brush to blend it in, because it doesn't put on too much product onto your face. And I use this powder under my eyes very lightly. I feel like if you use too much powder on your eyes, it will settle in your fine lines. In the middle of my forehead, on my nose. I don't like to set my face with like powder because I like a dewy finish to my skin. But obviously if you like a matte finish, or if you are really oily in your skin, then obviously set your entire face with a powder. Just make sure that it's a bit of a light powder so it doesn't give you a powdery, cakey finish. So once I've done my face, I like to move on to my eye area. And I like to go in with a primer on my eyelids. And I don't really have oily eyelids or any trouble with my eyeshadow wearing off during the day. I just really like the feeling of wearing like an eye primer. I don't know why. I just recently bought a new eye primer from MAC. This is the 24-hour Extend Eye Base. I've used this a couple of times now and it is really good. It really makes your eyeshadow stay in place all during the day and makes it look flawless and beautiful and really pigmented as well. And this comes in like a kind of like a waxy form, and then I just apply it to my entire eyelids. And then I just blend it in. And as you know, the eye area is very sensitive and we don't want to create any wrinkles, so make sure that you are very sensitive and gentle around the eyes, so don't pull too much. Then I like to let the eye primer settle totally 100% before I apply my eyeshadows. So instead I'm going to move on to my eyebrows, and I'm using my Anastasia Brow Wiz because I feel like you can be so precise with this little wand. It is just magic, seriously magic in a stick if you ask me. Firstly, I'm just brushing through my brows, as you can see, and the thing that I do is that I brush them upwards and then out. And once I've done that, I've got the perfect shape of my brows now, and now I'm just going to fill them in with my Anastasia Brow Wiz, the pencil right there. It is so freaking thin, I can't even really show you it, but it's amazing. And I would say when you do your brows, I would advise you to get a bit more up close to your face, because It is a bit of a like detail work, and to me, my eyebrows, they are so freaking important to me. So I like to make sure that they look perfect. What I do is I start from like the middle, and then I just gently create a line. Now when doing the tail of the brow, I actually like to extend it just a tiny bit because I like the look of it. I like to have big brows, so I just extend the tail just a tiny bit. I would say small, gentle brush strokes is the way to go. Seriously, don't make your brows look too harsh. And in hair, I don't want it to be too harsh because I want it to look like it's gradually getting darker because it looks more natural. So what I do is that I just turn my brush like this, and then I draw like upwards, just to draw tiny bits of hair, but not too much. Just to show you the difference, this brow looks so much more sorted and clean than this one. So that is obviously why I love doing my brows. They just do such a huge difference to your entire face. And please do bear in mind that your brows, they are not twins, they are sisters. They are not totally the same shape and form, and that is totally okay because your shape is not totally symmetrical. So don't hate on yourself if your brows doesn't look totally equal. You're not robots. So now I filled in my brows. I think they look so good now, and it really makes me feel much more confident with myself. I just feel like that my face looks normal now. But just to set the brows and just make them stay in place all during the day, I'm using my Gush Defining Brow Gel. This one has got a bit of a tint in it, which means that it will cancel out any small like sparse areas that you still have in your brows. So if you haven't been too neat with your brow wiz or with your other brow products, then this one can be a lifesaver. So just brush upwards as if I used the other spoolie. So upwards and then out. And if you feel like there's any small clumps of the brow gel in your brows, just go in with a spoolie and just gently brush through it. Before you apply any eyeshadow on your eyelids, I think it's really important to go for a fleshy toned eyeshadow that just, once again, color corrects your entire lid. So I'm going to use the color Bone here from my Bobbi Brown palette. This is a matte eyeshadow from Bobbi Brown, and I'm just using my Zoeva Luxe Soft Definer brush. It kind of like reminds me of my MAC 217 blending brush, so just a brush like that is a bit fluffy. So if you do have those days where you don't feel like wearing any color on your eyelids, then this is the perfect way just to get a nice natural look to your eyelids, so you still look somewhat put together. Now we're moving on to eyeshadows, and I think one thing that is really important is to make sure to figure out which colors suit your eyes, whether you've got hazel, browns, blues, greens, whatever. Today I'm just going to show you a really basic one that I actually think will suit all eye colors. I'm going to use this color here called Woodwinked. This is from MAC, and it's just the most lovely brown color. It's got a bit of a bronzy look to it, and it just complements the eyes so much. And to apply the eyeshadow, I'm going to use my Real Technique Space Shadow Brush, and I'm just applying it all over my eyelids and work it up into my crease, but not higher. In order not to get too much fallout from the eyeshadow, I think it's important when you pick up the product to just tap off the excess eyeshadow that is left on the brush, and then kind of like try to press in the eyeshadow instead of like blending it, because then you really get the pigment from the eyeshadow and you don't get too much fallout on your skin. And now I'm going to go in with my Real Techniques Doomed shadow brush, and then I'm just going to blend out the edges so it doesn't look too harsh on the eyes. And this is really important because that makes the eyeshadow look very seamless and nice and pretty. Blending is seriously the magic trick when it comes to eyeshadows. I'm going to use whatever is left on the eyeshadow brush, and then I'm just going to run it under my eyes. And to me that just ties in the entire look. And now before applying mascara, I just use a white eyeliner in my waterline. And I do that because that really just brightens up my look, and I'm not using it too harshly because I don't want it to look white. I just want it to make me look a bit more awake. I just use it very, very, very lightly, not too much. One thing that I swear to do before applying any mascara is curling my eyelashes. And I'm always using my Uemura eyelash curlers. What you do when you want to curl your eyelashes, you get all the way into the root of the eyelashes. And obviously make sure to do this when you don't wear mascara. And then just press down and hold it there for like 3 to 5 seconds. Now, I'm not going to go too much into detail about which mascara you should use because obviously that depends on your personal preferences. Today I want kind of like elongated lashes, but also something that can give me a bit of a volume. So I'm going to use my L'Oreal False Lash Wings Effect Mascara. What I do is that I try to get all the way into the roots as far in as possible, and then I just wiggle the brush and wiggle it up. In that way you create as much volume from the roots to the tips as possible while still separating the lashes. I personally like to apply 2 coats of mascara because I feel like that gives the perfect mascara look, and the first coat that I do is just to separate the lashes and create much volume. And then the second coat is going to be all about getting that extra length. That was the first coat on my upper lashes, and then I'm just going to apply a coat on the lower lashes. The thing that I like to do is actually to look upwards because then I feel like I don't touch my skin as much as if I look down and then, you know, go like that. Why do you always have to like do these weird faces? It looks like you look so stupid. And I don't really have any specific technique for applying mascara on my bottom lashes. I just try to wiggle around the brush and get all of them nicely coated. And now I'm going to apply the second coat of mascara, and now it's all about getting that extra length. So I really try to push up the eyelashes to give them that extra length. And I especially focus on my outer lashes because they will make my entire look much more like big and voluminous and long and beautiful. So that's the eyes done. I'm now going to move back to my skin and my face, and I'm going to bronze up my entire complexion because I feel like that's such an important step to look fresh and healthy, and I just love looking a bit bronzy and sun-kissed. So I'm going to use my contour kit from Anastasia. This is one of my favorite kits because it comes with so many different shades. You can see it comes with 6 different contour and highlighting shades, and the one that I really like for bronzing up is the middle one down here. It is just the perfect shade for me and my skin. And for bronzing up, I'm actually using a large fan brush. This one is from Cool Cars. And also up here on my forehead, just where the sun would naturally hit your face. That's where I bronze up. Next step is obviously totally optional. I just really like it, and that is blusher. I think blusher just creates a really natural flushed look, and it just makes you look a bit more natural and pretty and bubbly and alive. So I'm going to use my Bobbi brown blush, and I'm going to use the one called Nectar, which is that one. I think it's a perfect kind of peachy pink shade. And to apply that one, I'm going to use my Zoeva Luxe Sheer Cheek brush, and then I just smile like this, just to find the apples of the cheeks, and then I just try to gently apply it, actually mostly on the top of my cheeks, because it kind of like lifts the entire look. And last step for your cheek area is obviously to highlight a tiny bit, and you can use so many different highlighters out there. I am just going to blend these 3 highlighting shades together from my Anastasia contour kit because I think they're all very pretty. And some of them are shimmery and some of them are matte, so I just think it's a nice combo. And I'm using a smaller fan brush, as you can see, and then I'm just using it just above where I placed my blush. And then I'm also placing it just down here on my nose. As you can see, it just creates a bit of a highlight. And also on my cupid's bow. Now for lips, let me just show you the lip look that I swear by at the moment. It is just my go-to lip look. First thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to use my lip liner from Bobbi Brown. As you can see, it's so tiny because I use it every single day. I need to get a new one, by the way. But this is in the color Ballet Pink, which is just my absolute favorite. One thing that I like to do is actually that I like to overdraw just a tiny bit. When you overdraw your lips, they just look a bit more plump and luscious and I just really like that. Starting from my cupid's bow and then working out. And last step is lipstick, and I'm going to use my MAC lipstick in the color Blankety, which is an amplified one. As you can see, it's just a very fleshy, beigey nude lipstick, and I like that. So I'm going to apply that on top of the lip liner. Guys, I really hope that you found this video helpful. I just wanted to share most of my beauty tips and tricks with you guys, and hopefully you found it inspirational. This is probably my go-to makeup look at the moment because I think it just enhances all of my features that I really want to enhance, and it also covers up any imperfections or stuff like that. So it is just a flawless looking face in my mind. It's just a flawless makeup look, and it just goes for everyone. If you like the video, give it some thumbs ups. That means so much to me, you know that. It means more than words could possibly describe. And else also subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. Not much more to say. Thank you so much for watching. I love you guys to the moon and back. Bye! When you live in your own apartment, you will feel like that you are like on top of the world, but there will